Welcome back. We've got more snowy fun ready to go for you today. We're going to be making these adorable polar bears. How cute is that, right? So let's figure out what supplies we all need so we're set up and ready to go. First, of course, we are going to need our white paint, right? So we're going to be using our white paint for that today. So you might want to also have out your paint station. You can see I've got my table covering down and ready to go because, well, it could get a little bit messy. So my black paper I'll also need for the background. I'm going to have out my painter's palette and white paint ready to go as well. We'll want a paintbrush, but we're not going to be using it in the way that you probably think we are, so be ready for that. A permanent marker for later. We will need a cotton ball, like that. What else? Oh, we're going to need a piece of cardboard, just a small piece of cardboard. We're going to be cutting it up, which means since we're cutting it, we're going to also need some scissors. Okay? So we'll get back to this part later, but in the meantime, let's talk about how we're going to be making these sweet polar bears. So step number one, we're going to need that paint, right? So I'm going to pour that into my painter's palette. I'm going to do a decent amount because we are going to be using a good bit of paint today, and some of it's going to also get soaked up into our cotton ball, so I'm pouring out a little extra because of that. Oh my goodness, you can hardly see where it is. Ah. Anyway, once I'm ready, get this out of the way, I'm going to start my polar bear by grabbing this cotton ball, dabbing it into the paint, and I might want to use another spot to just make sure it's not too much on there. So we want a good amount, but not like where it's overly saturating. And we're going to start by making kind of like an upside down U shape on our paper. Make sure to save some room up at the top, okay? So we're going to need to add some ears in as well. But for right now, we're just kind of starting off with an upside down U shape. Reload your paint as needed. Make sure to always kind of dab it off on the side just so it's not overly too thick. We do want to kind of see the texture that the cotton ball allows, making it look kind of fluffy, like how a polar bear would be, right? Fluffy white polar bear. They look cute, but I'm told you shouldn't actually try to cuddle them. They're a little dangerous. They are still a bear after all. They might look cute and cuddly, but gotta be careful. Alright. So take your time, fill that in. If at any point in this video I'm going too fast for you, just pause the video, and you can always come back as soon as you're caught up into this point. Okay, so I've got my upside down U shape. Well, we're still going to need some polar bear ears, right? Right now it just doesn't really look like a polar bear, so let's get some ears. Now, I like to do just kind of like the outline of the ear and make the center point. I like to leave that black. So once again, it's kind of like a upside down U shape. Like that on one side. And I'm going to do the same thing on my other side here. Oop, I better dab that off a little bit more. So notice how I'm just kind of making a U shape, but this time I'm not filling it in because that's going to be the center of my polar bear's ear. Now, if you want to, you can also come back in to the center and make the snout a little bit more dense, opaque with the white paint. You don't have to. In fact, I don't think I did in either of my examples. But if you want to, I'm going to make a new example here where it's a little bit darker, or not darker, more opaque for the snout area. I don't know if you can see that very well in the camera, but yeah, something like that. You can kind of tell. A little bit darker or more opaque right there. All right, so we've got our polar bear, but you can see we're also going to need some snowflakes. This is where our cardboard is going to come into play. Now we want a little bit thicker cardboard, like not from like a cereal box or anything. We want the corrugated. We can see those wavy lines. We want something kind of like that. Okay? And I'm going to cut it Let's see, I'll start from over here. Just about like 1 inch by 2 inches or so would do. Just something that's easy enough to hold on to, but we only want it to be, might need to give another little cut right there. There we go. So we only want it to be about 1 inch this way. Okay? So, all right, once we've got that, I'm going to go ahead and dip that into my paint, and I'm going to press this down 3 times to make a snowflake on here. So let's see, maybe this is a good spot for one. Here's one. And now we're kind of making like an X. Might need to reload a little bit of paint there. And an X in the other direction. There we go. There's one snowflake. They can go off the paper a little bit too, which is why we've got this, protector for your table, right? Or your desk, whatever you've got. So if a little paint gets on it, that's going to be okay. But it looks kind of nice when it goes right off the edge. Like that. Okay, let's see. Maybe we do another one here. And you can add as many snowflakes as you would like. Just so that this video doesn't take too long. I'm not going to add a ton, but you get the point, right? So feel free, once again, if you want to pause the video, make more of your snowflakes, go right ahead. Whenever you're ready, come on back. And when you're back, we're going to be using the paintbrush in an unusual way. So we've got some big snowflakes coming down, don't we? But usually when you see those big ones, there's also some tiny ones mixed in there too. So I am going to be making some tinier snowflakes for the background as well, to kind of fill in all of that negative space. So you could, if you like finger painting, go ahead and use your pinky, dip that in the paint. Or if you're like me, I don't really like getting my fingers all dirty and messy, so I'm going to take the back end of our paintbrush. Yes, not the bristly end, the back end. And I'm going to dip that into my white paint, and I'm going to make those tiny snowflakes that way. Look at how perfect those little circles are. Isn't that cute? So feel free to, once again, fill in all of that negative space behind our polar bear. Fill that in with as many little snowflakes as you like. Now, of course, you're going to need to let this dry a little bit, aren't you? We can't really do much while it's wet. But once it is dry, you're going to go ahead and grab out that permanent marker, and you can create a little face on it. Whoopsies. Let's try that again. I don't know where I went. Oh, there we go. Make a little face on it. So once again, kind of that upside, or actually this is not an upside down, a right side up U for the snout, little oval nose, and the smile here, or a little smirk on it, some eyes. You can I put eyelashes on mine, you don't have to. Some eyebrows. I know we left this black, but you could also color it in a little bit more too if you want to. But make it yours, make it your own. This is just one example of what it might look like. But feel free to have fun with this. If you want to add color to it once it's dry, you could as well. Don't forget when you're done to share it with us in the Hall of Frame, and I cannot wait to see how these turned out. We'll see you next time.